Hello? I don't know if I'm exactly straight here. Let's fix that because that will bother me for sure. Oh man. There we go. Good thing nobody's here right now. If you're watching on replay, close your eyes. Because my camera doesn't want to steady. As soon as I let it go, it falls. There we go. Got it. So hello to everybody. My name is Lynnea. And it is cold and it is wet. And it's rainy, but it sure does look a lot like snow outside. You know how I live in northeastern Pennsylvania, so it snows quite a bit here. And so the outside has like that hazy white look to it, like it looks like snow could be coming at any time. I actually haven't checked the weather. I have no idea if it is, but if it is, that'll kind of go right with today's card. So if you were here, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I made a quick card with Glitz Glitter Gel and foil. And actually, it would have been awfully good of me to have that card ready, and I thought that I did. Here it is. This is the card we made 2 weeks ago when I used Deco foil transfer sheets and Glitz Glitter Gel, and all I used to create this fun background was some purple tape as well as some Easy Tear tape. And quite a few people liked the idea of not having to use a stencil to create a background, and so I decided we would do something quite similar, except today we're going to use flock transfer sheets and we're going to use more foil. This time I reached for Gina K Designs. This is fancy foil in Radiant Red. The only reason I reached for this one in particular is because I don't know if you can see from inside the packaging. See how it has that fun? It's not just shiny. It's kind of like there's some stars and some chunkiness to it. I thought that would be fun with the card design that we're going to make today. So, like I said, it's cold and rainy, so I have my heater on. If that noise, like if you guys can hear that, please let me know. I will absolutely turn it off because I know how annoying it can get with background noises sometimes. So let's jump right in. We're going to be doing another card today where you don't have to have a stencil to create a background. And I'm going to be using more of this Easy Tear tape because this is my favorite. So last time I used a skinny one, I think it was 1/4 of an inch. Today I'm using, let's see, is this half? Yeah, this is 1/2 inch. So let's get started here with my background. I'm going to grab my purple tape, which I thought goodness gracious, I'm a disaster. So I made a practice round of this card yesterday. Actually, it was technically this morning. So backstory, while I quickly tape my card onto my grid mat, a grid mat is something that is essential to me in my craft room because I'm not good at eyeballing things. I do it, but I'm not good at it. So I'm going to be using my grid mat, and I'll use the lines on this grid to create a striped pattern for my foil, just like I did a couple weeks ago. I went back and forth between, do I want to do the diagonal stripes or do I want to go straight horizontal? And I had a dream last night that I created a peppermint stripe background, like a candy cane. So I'm going to go diagonal because if it was in my dream, it must have been meant to be. Now here's where the backstory comes in about my dream. I am a diabetic. About a year ago, I was diagnosed. And since then, I have worked hard on my diet and my exercise to... I apologize. That's my 5-year-old. And like I said, it's cold outside. So if he can't go outside, he goes stir crazy. Jackson, baby, mommy needs you to be a little quiet. Watch your movie, okay? So like I said, I've been working very hard the last year to take care my diet, my exercise, all the things that you're supposed to do when you're diabetic. So I have been careful about what I eat. I've been careful about exercising every day. So for the last year, I haven't really eaten carbs. And yesterday, my son asked for a bagel for breakfast. And I'm like, yeah, you can have a bagel. And I'm sitting there looking at that bagel. And I'm like, this bagel looks delicious. And it's been so long since I had one. My blood sugar levels have been okay. They're higher than what a normal, quote unquote, normal person should be. But I'm doing a whole lot better than I was a year ago. So I've been happy. and I decided to eat a half of a bagel for breakfast because that's what I wanted. Well, don't you know, and if anybody out there is a diabetic like me, and again, diabetes is such a broad thing. Like, they say diabetes, but I firmly believe every diabetic is different. I can eat potatoes and be pretty fine. I could have a piece of like a Hershey Kiss and my blood sugar won't change. But if I eat a piece of bread or a noodle, my blood sugar is crazy through the roof. So, of course, that half a bagel sent me over the top where my sugar should have been. And because it has been so long since I've really eaten heavy carbs all at once, I just didn't feel good. So here I am with high blood sugar, kind of feeling like a beached whale. And come lunchtime, I just wasn't hungry. I just didn't want to eat. So I didn't, which is a mistake as a diabetic. Like, you should always eat, even if it's something small, like a handful of peanuts or something. But I didn't. And then I got caught up running errands because, this week is Thanksgiving. And so I had to go to the post office, and I had to go to I had like a few drive-up orders. COVID is flaring where I am. So I have my 5-year-old, so we don't go into stores. But when I schedule drive-up orders, I do them all at once because I don't like to drive. I don't like to go out in public. So when I have errands to run, they all get done in one day. So here I am. I had a half a bagel for breakfast. I skipped lunch, and now it's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm running all my errands, thinking nothing of it. I pick up my husband at 4:30, and I'm kind of, not feeling so good. And I check my sugar, and it's 100, which, again, for a normal person is good. For me, I usually run between 150 and 200, so I know I'm getting low. By the time I eat a granola bar, because that's all I have in the car, I'm feeling a little bit better, but, not so hot. I get home, and I'm making dinner, and my sugar is down to 73, which no good for me. Once I hit that, I'm going to start crashing quick. So, of course, that's just what I did. Crashed. And then I sat down on the couch at like 7 o'clock. My husband woke me up at probably midnight. And he's like, hey, I don't know if you had work to do today, but you've been pretty out of it. I'm like, well, I did have some work to do. Actually, I really did. So the card that I made in preparation for today, I did it about 2 o'clock in the morning. And I really liked the background. And I went to bed, and I had a dream about a peppermint stick. And so all that to say, that's why we're making the card that we did today, because my blood sugar crashed, and I had some really weird dreams about a candy cane. So here we are today. So I covered my background in these diagonal strips of that easy tear tape, and this is the 1/2 inch. And all I did was lay that 1/2 inch tape all over my card, and I left a 1/4 inch space in between. And now I'm just going to use my scissors and trim. What is it, honey? I don't know. So my son is in on the couch. He's watching a movie. He's watching right now. Oh, goodness. I think it's Avengers. He just asked me, where are the superheroes? Great news. The whole movie is about superheroes, so I know they're coming soon. I'm cutting off the excess now using non-stick scissors. You do want to make sure you're using non-stick scissors when you're using easy tear tape, because it's double-sided and it's pretty adhesive, like it's pretty strong. And so I'm just gonna, I don't know if you can see me. I'm cleaning the adhesive off my scissors. Don't do that. That's not good. You shouldn't put your fingers to the blade of your scissors. But sometimes risks must be taken. I'm going to clean this off. And then actually, as you can see here, I've got some stickiness on my desk. This is a glass work surface. So I could sit here with an adhesive eraser and kind of scrape it off. But like I said, as a diabetic, I've got these handy dandy alcohol swabs. I'm just going to get that off real quick because I don't want to ruin my card. I'm just going to scrape, scrape, scrape. Sorry if you can hear that noise. So anyway, I'm all kinds of out of sorts today after my sleep schedule kind of got messed up yesterday. My fellow diabetics here, you'll understand when you crash, like you just like fall asleep and you have no idea if it's for an hour or if it's been a couple months. Like when I woke up, I wasn't sure what decade we were in. I had no idea of, did my family finish dinner? Obviously they did because they're fine today. I'm not so fine. I didn't go to bed until like 4 o'clock in the morning, but we're good now, good to go. There we go, work surface is clean. I'm going to grab just a bone folder, and I'm gonna really press this adhesive on here. Just like that. I'm going to get ready a piece of this Radiant Red Fancy Foil. And I'll show you the backgrounds that I made last night. Once I'm done with this one, you can tell me which one is your favorite. I made one last night that was traditional colors, red and green, but then I had this dream about a candy cane. Is that gonna be big enough? Oh my gosh, I think I'm gonna get lucky and that's gonna be just big enough. So candy cane it is today. This is, like I said, Radiant Red Gina K Fancy Foil. Doesn't want to get back in the container. I'm gonna lay this here. Recently on Facebook, I've seen in a couple groups people saying that their foils aren't working the way that they thought they should. And so I have a couple tips for foil. We're not going to be using heat and a laminator to foil today, but you do want to make sure that you have, you know, the right side of your foil is meeting the right side of your adhesive. I'm going to go ahead and peel away. Not only is this tape easy tear, it's awfully easy release, which is amazing because I keep my fingernails short. I don't like long fingernails. I poke myself in the eyeball with long fingernails, so I keep mine short. So sometimes peeling away the back of adhesive isn't fun, but the thermal web adhesives I've never really had an issue with. I'm gonna just peel these away. I say that and now, there we go. Start from the other end. Okay, so when you are doing foil, and this applies as well to a laminator, anytime you are applying foil to your background, you want to make sure that the reverse side of your foil is touching your adhesive. So it's not really, both sides are shiny. Like look at this, even this back side is awfully pretty, but the back side isn't going to react with your adhesive. It's kind of like the front that does, so you want to go back side into the adhesive. I like to say pretty side up. Now, that being said, I have recently found that I have more success laying the foil face down onto my work surface and kind of rolling my paper into it. So this side has my adhesive on it. I'm going to just kind of put one edge, I'm laying this flat, put one edge onto the foil, and then roll my cardstock onto that. And so then you can see I have like a smooth, there's some crinkles in here, but not a lot. You're not going to even be able to see that. Versus sometimes, like I said, I have my heater on. So if I lay my cardstock down and I go to put my foil over top of it, my foil sometimes, because I'm klutzy and clumsy, I drop it. And then I don't have a clean piece of foil on top of my background. So that's why I roll my cardstock into it. Now I'm going to use my die cutting machine. Something that I think a lot of us crafters have is a die cutting machine. Doesn't matter if it's an electronic one like a Gemini or a crank like a Big Shot. Works the same way either way. I have a piece of typing paper here. This is actually just a scrap piece of paper from my other job. I'm going to lay my foil into that little kind of like a carrier piece here. And if you are like me, I've said it before on my lives, I have a really dirty cutting plate, you know, the one that the blades go into, so it's all scratched. And then I have a cleaner cutting plate. Now this one has ink transfer on it, but I've wiped it with a wipe and it's clean, it doesn't come off. But it's smooth, so I'm not really gonna get the impression of the cuts that I do here. So I'm going to take this piece that I have, and I'm not only gonna put it into this carrier sheet, but I'm also going to put the foiled side touching my quote-unquote clean plate. Put my dirty plate on top, and I'm gonna run that through. So this is a Gemini. Might make a little bit of noise here. Just takes a second. I promise you won't have to hear that for very long. And here we go. Hopefully this looks like a pretty candy cane. I had some adhesive on the back, so it's tearing my scrap paper, but that's okay. That's why it's scrap paper. Here we go. I have cut this just a little bit bigger than my background so I can grab that corner. And I'm going to very slowly peel it back on itself. Oh, look at that. This is why I like to use my die cutting machine for pressure to adhere the foil onto the paper. look at how cleanly that removed. You can just lay your foil on top and rub it with your fingers, but I found when I was doing that, I would get little pieces where the foil didn't transfer completely. And as a crafter, I know nothing is perfect, but as a perfectionist, I was like, that's gotta be perfect. So somebody recommended to me to use my die cutting machine, and now just look at how perfect that is. I'm trying to get it so you can see those because there's chunky little bits of foil. I think you can kind of see it there. So this will work with any of the foils that are on the ThermoWeb website, the Deco foils, as well as the Gina K fancy foils. I chose this foil today just because I liked these chunkies in there, and I thought that would give a little extra something to a simple background. So while I'm talking about the ThermoWeb website, before I forget, today started their Black Friday sales. So you're going to want to go and check that out. There is 30% off the website, and then $35 minimum will get you free shipping within the continental United States. So once I'm done with this video, I will go back and I'll leave a link in the video description. But if you want to head there now, it's thermoweb.com, and you're going to be able to find, you know, most of the things that you need for your Christmas craftiness. Okay, so here's a simple background, but I want to take this just a little bit further and kind of make it a little bit more candy cane-ish. So I'm going to bring in some flock, and this is just white latte, and some people might think like, oh, it's just white flock, but the white latte is probably my most used flock for the simple fact that it's white, and I use flock a lot of the times like cardstock. So you can ink blend on here, you can stamp on here, I've even done Copic coloring on here. Copics color a little bit differently on the flock than they do on cardstock, but I like to just die cut it for sentiments because it has just a little bit of thickness and a little bit of texture. I'm going to cut this out into strips to layer onto my foil. Now, when you're cutting flock, you want to cut this, I have some flock in here from last night, you want to cut this flock side down. That way when you cut, the flock isn't going to shred off because we're not actually going to be transferring this flock onto anything. I'm just cutting it straight. So I'm going to line this up, and I'm just going to cut some, I think I'm going to do 1/4 inch strips. I liked that look when I practiced last night. So I'm just using the grid lines on my paper trimmer. Fuzzy side of the flock is down, so it's like I'm just cutting right through a sheet of cardstock. And I'm just going to cut a bunch of strips. And I'm watching your comments come through, so if you guys have any questions, please let me know. If you have any, any ThermoWeb products that you would like to see demonstrated, let us know. And I'm just going to continue to cut these strips. I might have enough. Let's see. Let's start with that. Put that to the side. Okay, so I'm going to hold this up to the camera. Maybe you can see the fuzziness here. Sometimes my camera goes weirdo. I don't know if you're going to be able to see the fuzziness here. But if you go to the ThermoWeb blog, you should be able to see photos of other designers' projects, and you're going to be able to see the texture of these flock transfer sheets. And there's like a whole rainbow of them. This is Icraft Ultrabond liquid adhesive. You can tell my bottle is quite used. This is my go-to liquid adhesive. I love to use tape runner adhesive when I'm transferring or when I'm gluing down cardstock pieces, but if I'm using liquid adhesive, this is the one that I use. I do have the fine tip on here that's also sold on the ThermoWeb website. That just helps me with precision and control. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to add a strip of adhesive going right down the center of each of these foil stripes. And I'm just going to do, I think, 3 at a time. This glue, I do like it because it dries relatively quickly, but it's going to give me a little bit of time just to squiggle things around. So I'm going to go ahead, add that there. And I am making sure, you can definitely tell with the flock which side is right side up because one side is textured and one side is just like a thin cardstock or a paper on the back. That's almost how it feels. And I'm just going to go ahead and layer these up. So it looks a little weird right now because you have all this excess hanging off, but I hope you can kind of start to see the candy cane-ness. Is that a word? Candy cane-ness? It is now. Of this background. So I have the white cardstock in the back, and you can use any color cardstock that you want. You're going to see in the example that I did last night, I used, I think it's green that I used actually. Green cardstock. So any cardstock, you can use any color foil and then any color of the flock. But this I just thought would be super fun for a fun little Christmas background. And it doesn't take that much time, really. And the good thing about it is it takes no drying time. I mean, you have a little bit of drying time for the glue to dry, but I can deal with that. Sometimes you just need a quick Christmas card, and you don't want to dig out a lot of supplies. So I think that these kinds of designs where you can just kind of do some quick stripes are really fun. And plus, I really like stripes. If you don't like stripes, maybe you like polka dots, you could do this kind of a technique with the Thermal Web Zots. Hold on, because they have a whole bunch of sizes. I have some sitting right here, actually. So, like, you could put down one of these little Zots on your cardstock and transfer the foil to that. You could transfer the flock to that, too. So if you prefer dots, try this background with those little Zots. Okay. I'm going to flip this over, just give that a press. Most of these are pretty much dry by now. So I'm going to go ahead and trim these off. And then it won't look so crazy with all these extra strips hanging off. Goodness. Almost done. Here we go. Okay. Let me clear away the garbage because nobody wants to look at garbage. There we go. Look at this. I think it's so fun with just that little bit of red foil peeking out. I'm going to try to get close without my camera going wonky so you can see the foil. And then, like, this is the flock. So you have cardstock, foil flock, cardstock, foil flock. I hope you can see. My camera doesn't want to pick it up, I think because it's dark. But, like, I like it. I think it's super cute. Let me show you. Where did I put my background that I did last night? Okay, so here's the one I did last night. You can tell me which one you like better. Because like I said, this was a dream. Sometimes dreams don't turn out the way you think they should, but I think we all have crafty dreams. Here's the one I did last night. So this is green cardstock. And then this is foil. That's another Gina K foil. Let me find that one. Sparkling silver. So we have green cardstock, sparkling silver foil, and then red flock. Yep, you can put your hands in. Go ahead, say hello. Hello. That's Jax. He's 5. He crafts with me all the time. Okay, go ahead. So there's 2 backgrounds, and they were both done in the same way, just different colors. So, you know, like they say, pick your poison. If you like the candy cane look or if you like this look. And I'm not sure actually which one. Let me show you what we're going to be putting on top, because I am a crafter who loves backgrounds. Backgrounds are completely my jam, and I will spend more time on a background than I do on the rest of my card. So I like to keep what's on top very simple. And I have in my stash, when I went through looking for some Christmas stamps to use on today's card, I found these cute little jar stamps. These are from, I hope I don't butcher the name of the company. I think it's Lesia Zgardia. And Winter in a Jar is the name of the stamp set, this one here. And so I just simply colored those up with my Copics, and I cut them out with scissors. And they're going to go right on top like this. I think I want to put, do I want to put this one over here? I think I like that. I don't know why. I think I do. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and use, once again, my grid mat to line these up. And then I'm going to show you a trick that I do with almost every one of my cards for getting correct placement. I like to line them up on my grid mat, get them nice and straight the way I want them to look, no matter what I do. Okay, thank you. Oh, jeez. It's just what you want to hear when you're in the middle of a live video. My 5-year-old goes, the toilet flusher is broken. Yikes. Well, looks like I'll be a plumber when I'm done being a crafter. Okay, so I'm going to line those up the way I want them to look. And thank you. He said it's fixed now, so I'm hoping that means that he was playing plumber. He likes to play handyman, which is great, because if he grows up to be a plumber or a mechanic and I never have to pay for one of those services again, I'm perfectly okay with that. I'm going to take my piece of purple tape. This is the 1/2 inch, and I'm just going to give that a press onto here. And now I have one element to work with instead of 3 little elements. And this was the one I did last night. I think I'm going to go ahead and go with the one we did today because I really like that red. I have this Mary die. This is from Concord and 9th. I do believe this one is still available on their website. It's from, I think, last year, but I love it. I love just simple word dies. I think it's super fun. Yes, baby. Hold on. Let mommy finish, okay? I cut this from some glitter cardstock, but I don't think I really love it. I think I'm going to cut it from green flock.
Oh. Green flock.
Green flock. Does that sound like a good idea?
Sure.
Okay.
Then I want green flock on birthday cards.
You don't want green flock on your birthday cards? What color flock do you want on your birthday card?
Black.
Black flock? I do use the black flock a lot, don't I?
Mm-hmm. What's that?
That's the flock.
A flock?
This is how I craft when I'm not with you guys. With a little 5-year-old voice in my ear telling me, not that color, Mom. Choose a different one. I have a piece of flock in this is emerald green. I think it's just big enough. I'm going to go ahead and take my purple tape, and I'm going to just adhere that on. And I'm going to die cut this just like I would die cut cardstock. I'm using my purple tape to hold that in place so that it doesn't move. This new formula of purple tape is pressure activated. So you want to just give that a press. And once you do, that adhesive is gonna, form that temporary bond, and it's not gonna go anywhere. I'm gonna die cut this, again, just like I would do if I am die cutting cardstock. Wait, hold on. You can stand there. What do you mean you're too bored? Okay. Here we go. I'll peel that off. That's my trick for getting dies out of, or die cuts out of your dies. When I was I was actually at Stamp Junkies last year, and here I am with my poker tool trying to get my die cut to release. And my best friend goes, why don't you just throw it at the table? And I was like, what do you mean throw it at the table? So now I throw my dies at the table and it comes right off. Okay, so Allison is asking, does the purple tape do anything to the flock? Okay, so I'm gonna show you, because here is where I had my purple tape. You can see the tiniest of indents here, and that is just from, my Gemini has a lot of pressure. So when I ran it through, you're gonna see that little bit of an indent here. I didn't mind because this is my negative piece. This is my garbage piece, I'm not gonna use it. If I'm die cutting from flock and I need to adhere my die or whatever to my flock, and I don't want it to leave a mark, I transfer my flock to cardstock first with double-sided adhesive. So I would use, let me find them, 6x6 easy cut adhesive sheets. I'd cover a piece of cardstock, put my flock on it, pretty side down for flock, transfer it into the adhesive. Once the flock is transferred, it's kind of pressed down already, so I don't get marks with purple tape or anything when I'm doing it that way. But even here you can see it didn't leave a lot of marks, and that's just because I ran it through my Gemini that I got that little mark. If you wanted to do like masking with purple tape and you're just doing regular masking, you're not running it through a die cutting machine, I haven't found that I've had any issues with the flock marking. But if you're concerned about it, transfer it to a piece of cardstock first, and that seems to help. I think I like the green a lot better than I liked the white. What is it, honey?
Want to craft.
You want to craft? Okay, could mommy finish here, and then you can craft with me? You stand right there. I'm going to go ahead and use these 3D foam adhesive squares. These are my favorites when I have a simple card and I want to really add a lot to the background, or not a lot to on the background rather, and I just want my little elements to have some lift. Because these are, in my opinion, these are thicker foam squares, and so I reach for these quite frequently. I'm going to go ahead and just add one to the back of each of these little jars. Again, I have that purple tape stuck here. I'm going to give those a good press on, and then what I like to do is just kind of press down in the middle, and you're going to find that the edge of the backer will lift right up, and you're going to be able to easily just peel that backer right off. Again, I have short nails, so I'm always looking for easy release backers. And then I'm going to put these, we're going to go pretty center on here. And if you're concerned about these kind of falling off in the mail, I'm going to add a little bit of this Ultrabond adhesive. Not because I'm concerned, but because I want to be able to slide them. But also if I'm mailing anything, this is like a great thing for me to add, because then I know for sure my sequins, all my little gems, they're not going anywhere in the mail. I'm gonna add that on. It just doesn't, you know, you have those days where no matter what you do, you're like, that is not centered and or straight. And it's both for me right now. Thank you. Could you please go put that in a tissue? Oh, jeez. Here we go. I think I need my handy T-square ruler. This is what happens when I try to craft without my basic help me out tools. There we go. I hope that's better. And if that's still not straight, I might end up trimming the edge. Paper trimmers are my friends. I can't tell you how many times I end up trimming 1/8 of an inch off the side of my card, and I think to myself like, oh geez, I had to trim something off, but nobody's ever gonna know. And now I need to add this on, and I think I will add this. I think I'll use my Ultrabond for this. I could go ahead and cut up some pieces of foam adhesive, but I don't want to make you guys have to sit here and watch me do that.
Oh,
So,
we need
careful.
that. We need that glue.
What do you need?
We need that glue for.
Oh, you need to make cards with this glue? Is this your favorite glue?
Yes.
Yeah, why do you think Mommy has to buy so much of it?
Cause for working.
For working. For you? Yeah.
Oh, that really sharp.
Yes, Mommy does the pin. I keep a pin in the top of my fine tip thingy. What is that word? Nozzle, I guess you could use. And Mommy does the pin, huh? You just do the gluing. I'm gonna go ahead and put this right underneath.
Taking so long.
And I will give that a press. This background is decently textured between having the foil, so there's cardstock, then foil, and then the flock. And even though they are all pretty thin,
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
I like to have this Ultrabond adhesive because I know that adhesive is kind of going to seep into all those nooks and crannies and really hold down that Mary. Okay, so that's my card with those cute little snow globes and that foil. Here's the other one that I did, so you can see there's so many options between using white cardstock, colored cardstock, different foils, different colors of the flock. And you're going to get all kinds of texture and dimension. And I cut this sentiment too from the flock, so there's even more texture there. So hard to pick up on the camera to show you, but really if you're mailing this to somebody, they're not, you know, I touch everything. I'm a very tactile person, but they're not going to have an option really. When they pull this out of the envelope, they're going to immediately be touching all these textures. And so even though maybe from a distance it looks like, oh, that's just cardstock, it's not, and it is so fun. So there's the card we did today. Here's the one we did a couple weeks ago where I layered the glitz on top of foil. Here you have flock on top of foil. So many different things you can layer and put together. And like I said, a great idea if you don't like stripes. I'm quite partial to stripes. If you don't like them, grab a couple sizes of these Zots. There's bunches of, no, I shouldn't say bunches, a few different sizes of these Zots on the ThermoWeb website. And you can just put them on your card, transfer the foil, and you could even use like a paper puncher if you wanted to punch out some circles of flock to layer on top. So if you'd rather have polka dots over stripes, so many options for that. So that's all that I have for today. If anybody has any questions about the products I used, if you guys have suggestions or if there's something particularly you would like to see, I'll hang out here for a couple minutes and go ahead and tell me. And like I said, don't forget about the ThermoWeb Black Friday sale, 30% off the website. And at $35, you'll get free shipping to the continental U.S. That's a pretty awesome sale. Hold on, baby. Thermoweb.com is the website. And once I'm done here, once I sign off, I will go ahead and I'll put that link to the shop as well as links to the products that I used in today's live video. I'll put those in the description. So if you're watching on replay, you'll have those available. If you're watching live right now, give me like 5 minutes and I will get those right up for you guys. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving, so I hope that you all have a happy, a safe, a warm, cozy Thanksgiving. Thank you all for being here with me today, and I will see you in December. I'm not sure of the exact dates for my next live with everything going crazy at the end of the month here, but I will definitely let you guys know. Thank you for watching. See you later.